Halo Infinite is a return to form as far as gameplay loops go. 343 finally found that sweet spot where the guns feel good and fighting a truly organized Covenant force feels like a return to something that's been missing from the series for a while. Halo Infinite has a lot going for it, so let's start off with the good. Overall, Halo Infinite is the best FPS to come out this holiday season. The lackluster response to COD Vanguard and the buggy mess that was Battlefield 2042 squarely puts Halo at the top and makes it the must-buy over its competitors. Halo came out swinging with an early release of their multiplayer where the game shines the most. The only thing really lacking at launch was the lack of playlists like Slayer and SWAT, and still the lack of maps for the overall title. It may seem lackluster to only have 4 big team maps and 6 arena maps, but the good news is that they'll be adding more to it as time goes on. The maps that are out are pretty well balanced and fun to play in all the current game variants. The other good news is that before the end of December, 343 did add in more playlists so players can play Slayer-based games and SWAT, which is now called Tactical Slayer. The campaign in Halo Infinite is probably the best 343 has put together in their third try to put a compelling story together. An open world with boss bounties to hunt down, tactical targets to search out and claim. The player has the freedom to explore and tackle whatever it is they want, but clearly getting advantage by claiming bases and getting those power-up weapons from those bounty bosses. The Grunt Propaganda Towers is a return to the great sense of humor Halo had in its previous titles, and the villain seems ominous with the taunts that he gives you throughout the game. Now time for the bad. The story in Halo Infinite is the best 343 has put together so far, but still has some missteps. 343 originally didn't want the Master Chief to be a shell that the player puts themselves in. They wanted to make him more human, and they really did succeed at that with this outing. Once again, there's a huge gap in storytelling between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. The gap creates questions like, where's Team Osiris and Blue Team, which is explained away in multiple books and never mentioned in the game. This leaves for a missed opportunity for a great prologue mission that would have had Master Chief and Blue Team returning to Reach to retrieve the weapon before heading to Zeta Halo. As I said, 343 succeeded in making Chief not a shell that the player puts themselves into, but more of a fleshed out human character. But the way they did it is very jarring to those who have just played the games and not read the books, comics, or other media that 343 depends on to tell their coherent story in their games. This is the first time the Master Chief has information about what's happened and what is going on that the player doesn't have and isn't revealed until the story beats deem it necessary. So my first time playing it, I was wondering why things were happening, what exactly was Master Chief doing, and I did not feel like I had information to understand fully. Once I did understand, I got the whole story. It made sense why the story was told the way it was. So in hindsight, this is the best story 343 is told once you play through it a second time. First time playing it felt like I was watching a Matrix sequel without having seen the first Matrix movie. Impressed with the action and gunplay, but confused as to what's happening and why we were in the state we were. The other big misstep here is that 343 has killed some of their replayability with some of the choices that they've made both with multiplayer and campaign. Playing with Skulls On will deactivate saving and achievements. But how will anybody get the Lasso achievement listed if the game will not save progress with the Skulls On? Are you expected to play Lasso in one whole setting? That's not possible. Why would I even bother to find all the skulls if I am expected to beat the game in one session to experience the full effect of the skulls? I personally am not a Lasso type of player, but I do like the Grunt Birthday skull and the I would have been your daddy skull that unlocks the rare dialogue, but with no saves and achievements turned off when using them, there's no point in me getting them until they fix this. The Battle Pass and Challenge system has been reported as broken since launch, but the choices 343 has made are clearly pushing people to buy content from the store in order for them to bypass challenges that they don't want to do, since challenges are forcing players to play playlists that they may not want to play. Some people don't want to play Capture Flag or Ranked or Oddball, but when they get those challenges, they either have to play them or use a token to swap out the challenge. If they don't have the tokens to swap out the challenges, guess what? You can buy those tokens from the store. It's not a great experience when that happens. Also, the length of the season is way too long. The first season will be over May 2022. Most people will be done with this Battle Pass by the end of January if they've picked up the game when it launched. Overall, Halo is the best FPS of the year, beating out its major competitors, but it still doesn't stand up to Bungie's titles. It comes close, but the original trilogy and Reach still remain the best stories and gameplay that the series has seen.